right, guys, for this project today, we're gonna be making candy canes that are all like overlapping in a stack. So to start, you're of course gonna start this with a pencil. I'm gonna start this with a Sharpie so you guys can see what I'm drawing on our video. So first things first, we wanna start drawing these candy canes. Now, the shape of a candy cane is kind of like a J, right? So I'm just gonna pick a spot on my paper to start my first candy cane. And you guys are of course starting this with a pencil, so if you make a mistake, you can erase. And also remember, with a pencil, it's much easier to erase if you're drawing very lightly with that pencil, right? You do not have to press down hard. It's super easy to erase it if you've just pressed really lightly. And then remember, we always go over our pencil lines with a black marker or a black Sharpie or a black crayon. So don't worry if they're like kind of hard to see, right? Because we'll go over them. So back to what I was saying. We're making a J line. And then I want to try to keep the end of my candy cane as straight as possible. So it's like a really like flattened J. You don't want this to be too wide right here because there's not usually a whole lot of space. So then what I'm going to do is right next to that line I just drew, I'm going to try to make another line that's the exact same distance all the way down. I'm going to be very careful and go slowly. And this is where it gets tricky. You want to make sure you're keeping this the same width all the way around. Okay, so see how it's exactly the same distance apart here as it is here, as it is here? That's what's important about candy canes. And then at the end of both of these lines, I'm just going to make a curved line. There's one candy cane. Now, what I want to do is find a way to measure my candy cane. So I have a ruler. I just want to kind of measure how long I made my candy cane. It looks like I made it just about 7 inches long. If you don't have a ruler, then find something else. You can say, oh, it's the length of my pencil to right before the metal part, right? The reason you're doing that is so you know when you make your other candy canes that they're all the same size, okay? Because that's important because we want these to kind of all look the same. So now I'm gonna make an overlapping candy cane. I'm gonna start by making, and you can see I'm kind of just following along my ruler, not because I really need it to make a straight line, but because I want to make sure I'm making my candy cane the same length. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did before. And you can see I'm overlapping these candy canes because that's going to be the point of this project. We're going to have a bunch of candy canes overlapping each other. And then I'm finishing off with those curved lines at the end. And they might go off the edges, that's totally fine. You can see I'm purposefully making some go off the page. I think that's looking pretty good. So now what we're ready to do is go through and add our stripes to each candy cane. So So to do that, you're gonna find your candy cane and put it straight up. So I'm gonna do this candy cane. And what you want to do is make a curved, see how this bottom of the candy cane has a curved line? I wanna follow that shape up my candy cane, and I wanna evenly space them out. I'm gonna go up a little bit more. You can see I'm just basically mimicking this shape I made down here. Trying pretty hard to evenly space them. Going around the top gets a little bit tricky. Basically, down here they'll be closer together and up here they'll be farther apart. Keep up here the same distance. See how up here is the same width as down here? Okay, so there's my first candy cane, and I'm just going to continue that on all of my candy canes. And you can see I like to kind of turn my paper so I always have the bottom of the candy cane at the bottom, because that just kind of helps me make those little curved lines. So now it's time to color these in. You can of course color them in with whatever materials you have at home. You can use markers, you can use crayons, colored pencils. I have markers here. Now I know most candy canes, or the way you think of a candy cane, is red and white, but candy canes come in all kinds of colors. So I would suggest, you can definitely do some of them red and white, but I would suggest doing some of them with other colors as well, just to make it a little more interesting and fun, okay? So the other thing I'm gonna make sure to say is color neatly, color slowly, so you make sure that you're not scribbling, you're doing a neat, nice job. So with that same candy cane that I started with, I'm gonna make that one red and white, just because I feel like you have to have at least one red and white, right? I like to outline my space first, super nicely and neatly, and then color it in. So then I make sure that I've gotten all my edges. I'm not gonna accidentally go over the lines. And then of course I wanna skip a space, wanna leave it white. Candy canes have a pattern on them, right? So they go every other. Skip a space. So I think I want to draw like 3 of them red and white, and then I'll do different colors for the other ones. Make sure you're going slowly, so you're 1, not being sloppy, but 2, it's kind of easy with all these overlapping candy canes to accidentally color in the wrong space or color in the wrong candy cane. So go slowly, take your time. All right, guys, there we go. There's my finished candy canes. I think they're so cute. The important parts of this project is trying to make sure your candy canes stay the same size, the same width, and then of course, coloring super neatly. No scribbling, filling your spaces completely. And you can see the different color candy canes just really makes the whole thing pop. I love it so much, and I cannot wait to see how yours turn out.